Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk Physical Media. I am your host, John, and this is the weekly show where we cover all the news in the world of physical media. And for the second week in a row, it was a really slow news week. I think now we know why certain studios announced their March 2025 releases before Christmas. They're probably taking the time off before the year ends because the news has been trickling out pretty damn slow. But we did get some confirmation for some 4K Blu-rays this week. Two of them from Kino Lorber. We did talk about them previously on this show. Both Hard 8 and Inside Man, which I didn't know Kino Lorber was going to be doing the 4K Blu-ray release for Inside Man, so I'm really excited about that. That's a Spike Lee joint that, again, Hard 8, not the Paul Thomas Anderson movie I was expecting to come to 4K Blu-ray, and that's the same with Inside Man. That's not the Spike Lee joint I was expecting to come to 4K Blu-ray. Both directors still have classics that have never come to the 4K Blu-ray format, and in the case of Spike Lee, you have movies like The 25th Hour and He Got Game just like stuck on Blu-ray double packs that are out of print at this point that really need a brand new restoration. I'm hoping that this is the year maybe a studio like Criterion or even Kino Lorber gives those movies the attention that they need. And then Paul Thomas Anderson with Hard 8, that's the first film he ever directed, so it's not quite the classic Paul Thomas Anderson film that he would follow up that movie with, which is Boogie Nights, which absolutely needs a 4K Blu-ray release. And then of course Magnolia needs a 4K Blu-ray release as well. And then There Will Be Blood. So Paul Thomas Anderson has three classic movies still stuck on Blu-ray. And then you got a director like Spike Lee, who's one of the greatest directors ever, also has some great movies stuck on Blu-ray, and some of them are out of print. So I'm glad we're getting Inside Man, and I'm glad we're getting Hard 8 on 4K Blu-ray. Both movies I'll definitely be picking up, but we need some of these directors' classics on 4K Blu-ray. I imagine to get the rights to those movies probably costs a pretty penny, but then the major studios that own the rights to those movies, come on, put a 4K Blu-ray release out. That's what the fans want of these movies. They want to complete their Paul Thomas Anderson and Spike Lee collection. And then the only other real big 4K Blu-ray announcement this week was for Nosferatu. Nosferatu is killing it in theaters right now. I actually saw it last week, and, you know, it's probably not going to make my top 10 movies list of 2024, which I'll put that video out this week, hopefully. I'm just trying to catch up on some movies. I was hoping to see The Brutalist before I put that list out, but I went and saw Nosferatu last week, and my God, it is a beautiful-looking film. Definitely the best cinematography of 2024, but I was a little disappointed. I didn't love that movie as much as I was hoping to love it. I thought that movie would be my favorite film of the year just because of the beautiful cinematography and the great actors involved, but it just kind of left me feeling a little bit hollow. But it is coming to 4K Blu-ray, and apparently with an extended edition, which is great because an extended edition might actually flesh that movie out even more. And I know some people were bothered by the pacing of the movie. The pacing is not what bothered me about Nosferatu. I have no problem with a slow burn movie. As long as it's making me feel and it's, tugging at my emotions, and, I feel like that sense of dread I was hoping to feel, and maybe the 4K Blu-ray will do that. I'll watch it at home in the darkness. I watched it in a crowded theater, and the guy next to me, why do you go to the movies? He literally passed out within, the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then he just wakes up as the credits roll. I'm like, if you wanted to pay for a nap, I go to a hotel. You don't have to come to the movies. I was just like, especially this movie, this is supposed to be an experience. So I'm hoping that 4K Blu-ray with the extended edition is it. I'll definitely be pre-ordering that. The artwork, it's just kind of the movie poster. I imagine we'll probably get a steelbook announcement sometime down the line, but either way, or to get an extended edition of Nosferatu, I'm there for it. Robert Eggers is 4 for 4 with me. I was just hoping that, Nosferatu would be that 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And, it's still a great film. It just wasn't the movie that I was hoping for. But hey, you know what? On rewatch, I might enjoy that movie even more. Sometimes that happens, and the 4K Blu-ray is definitely the place to check that out. And then the only other news this week that just kind of came out before I started doing the show is that David Fincher, he's been on the interview circuit because Seven is getting a re-release in IMAX theaters. Also, we're getting the brand new 4K Blu-ray. You'll see this review on Tuesday, guys. And because he's doing all these interviews, he's been talking about the restoration process for 7, which had some actual CGI and AI stuff done with it. Not as much as people were making a big deal about, but there are some changes to that 4K Blu-ray that really the naked eye won't notice, but he's talked about that stuff as well. But he's been talking about his movies and TV shows that he's done for Netflix. The two movies that he's done are Mank and The Killer. Both movies I love. The Killer from last year was one of my favorite movies that year. I've watched that movie a couple times again. The audio on that would lend itself so well to the 4K Blu-ray format. Mank is a beautifully shot black and white movie. And then, of course, he created the show Mindhunter. And I believe he also created the show House of Cards. Now, I prefer Mindhunter over the show House of Cards. But both of those shows are beautiful, well acted, well written. I mean, Mindhunter is one of my favorite shows ever. We only got 2 seasons. It looked incredible. Those are the kinds of shows that would look great on 4K Blu-ray. But David Fincher said he talked to Netflix about releasing his 2 movies and his shows on physical media, and he said that Netflix has no interest in releasing any of their stuff physically, which honestly makes a lot of sense and is probably no surprise to anyone. The only Netflix stuff we've really gotten released are a couple of seasons of Stranger Things, and they didn't release all of them. And there is a rumor that this year we'll finally get all of them on 4K Blu-ray. We'll have to wait and see how true that is, but season 5 of Stranger Things is coming. All the cast is probably in their 30s now, but they'll be playing high schoolers. But how many great shows and great movies have Netflix put out over the years that deserve physical media releases? Like, I appreciate the stuff that they've done with the Criterion Collection. Like, I have a couple of their movies on Blu-ray, like Marriage Story. I love Marriage Story. I was glad that they gave that a physical media release. But then they have so many other great movies stuck on there. Like, they cloned Tyrone. That movie would look and sound great on 4K Blu-ray. We just talked, and all those David Fincher stuff, they would all look and sound great on 4K Blu-ray. Even just a nice physical release would still be better with streaming on Netflix. And Netflix does have some of the better streams out there, but you want to have this stuff on your shelves. I don't know if you guys saw what is going on in Canada right now, but they're not doing digital copies anymore. So if you get a digital copy from the States, you're not going to be able to scan it in. And I don't think they have movies anywhere up there. I'm not entirely sure how this works, but that's really disappointing to hear. And that's why having a digital library is not the same as necessarily having a physical library. I'll always say physical media first, but hey, get the movie any way you can. But when you own these movies digitally, you don't really own the movies. You're buying the rights temporarily to the movies, and they can do really whatever they want. Now, when you have the movie on the shelf, they can't pull that away from you. And I feel like Netflix, I don't know why they don't like free money. Maybe there's a specific reason. Maybe there's a tax write-off. But you can give the rights to this stuff to other studios to put the movies out on 4K Blu-ray. Like, if you're Netflix, sell the rights to, Arrow Video. Or sell the rights like you already have to the Criterion Collection. I don't know why. There's got to be a specific reason. But it really does bother me that they have no interest in the physical media market at all. At least studios like Shudder will put all their movies out on Blu-ray, so you don't even have to subscribe to them if you're only interested in certain movies. Even Amazon will put their movies out somewhat on Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray. Apple, I'm surprised about with Killers of the Flower Moon from last year and Napoleon. I thought because those were Apple teaming up with other major studios, those would have got physical media releases. Killers of the Flower Moon got an Italian release, but it never got a United States 4K Blu-ray release over a year later. I was dead wrong. I thought we would have had that by this past summer, but we did not get it. So that's a Martin Scorsese movie that's stuck on a streaming service.
It really bothered me.
Makes me these movies do deserve those physical media releases, and if those major studios who own the rights to these movies have no interest in releasing them on physical media, sell the rights, lease the rights out temporarily, like Wall-E to Criterion Collection. There are ways to do this, but they'll probably just give you some corporate answer as to why they're not doing it, and it'll be 100% bullshit lie, and it's just that corporate lingo where they're trying to mislead you.
I'm not a stupid fucking idiot.
Really, the reason it has to do with money. For some reason, it all boils down to money, not necessarily what the fans want. And you can just see that in everything that these streaming services and major corporations do. Because for Netflix to say that they won't release any of the David Fincher stuff on physical media, it's definitely heartbreaking. Because look how excited people are for early this year with movies like Seven going to 4K Blu-ray, going back into IMAX theaters, which I love that they're doing that. I think this year we'll see even a bigger rise in people going to the theaters to see classic films. And I'm all there for that. We just had the Interstellar re-release with 70mm. This getting re-released in IMAX. Let's keep doing that. Give us new scans and put them out in theaters. I'm all there for it. And of course, give us those scans on physical media. That's all we could ask for as movie fans and physical media fans. So let's hope that Netflix reverses course on that, because I didn't really like to hear that. It kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, if I'm being honest. But again, guys, it was a really slow news week, so I hope you guys still really enjoyed the show. And if you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We also have channel memberships, guys. So if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, or a channel director like Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews and Mr. Smelly Potato, you can look for all that information in the description below. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't you worry about it all. All we hope is that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you